Hey guys, Andre Harrison here with a brand new video for you here on Motorsport 101. This is something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to do at least once, be able to review a race and make kind of a comedic, humorous style kind of video review with it in a similar vein to what Chris and Matt have become backbones for in this kind of new F1 community. It's me looking back at probably the most famous MotoGP race of all time, and that's Estoril 2006. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know. Who knows, I may make more of these down the road one day, but this is just something I wanted to basically just scratch the itch on my back on when it comes to video content. But in any case, I sincerely hope you enjoy it. I really look forward to hearing your feedback, and yeah, I just hope you enjoy the video. Until then, sayonara. MotoGP in 2006 was at its most intriguing in ages. Valentino Rossi had won 5 consecutive championships, but for the first time in half a decade, he didn't have it all his own way. Numerous technical problems had left the door open for some of his rivals, and headed into the penultimate round, 5 men still had a chance at the championship. Valentino, as well as championship leader Nicky Hayden, despite having only won 2 races. Gresini's Marco Melandri, Ducati's Loris Capirossi, and even rookie Dani Pedrosa had an outside shot in 5th. Estoril was a brand new circuit for the calendar at the time, and in qualifying it was Valentino Rossi on pole ahead of Edwards, Hayden, Pedrosa, Stoner, Hopkins, Nakano, Gibernau and Checker. For what it's worth, it had been raining on and off all day, so the track was still somewhat slippery. Look, a young Susie Perry, before she was ruined by F1 punditry. Fun fact, she still has me blocked on Twitter. Seriously, Dani Pedrosa hasn't aged in 11 years. Good genes, clearly. Daniel Day-Lewis taking time out of his busy schedule of winning all the Oscars. All of them. So without further ado, the MotoGP Portuguese Grand Prix is underway. Edwards gets the best launch, but it's Rossi who takes the whole shot, with Pedrosa passing Edwards into turn 2 for 2nd, and Hayden falling to 4th ahead of Casey Stoner. Shinya Nakano crashes out on the opening lap, which is a solid visual representation for his time at Kawasaki. Don't worry, he was okay. Meanwhile, Nicky Hayden pulls off an absolutely ridiculous outside pass on Edwards for 3rd. Something tells me he wants that title. And down goes Stoner, taking Sete Gibernau with him, hurting his repaired collarbone, which at this point is about as broken as Cook's jokes regarding sacks of potatoes. Silly Stoner, he's never going to amount to anything in this damn sport with actions like that. Edwards with a ridiculous pass on Hayden at the uphill chicane. Something tells me he wants that first win. Hayden with another very aggressive early move, diving down the inside of Pedrosa. If this was Marc Marquez, we'd be accusing him of breaking Valentino Rossi's sacred code. Whatever you do, Pedrosa, don't retaliate.
12 seconds later.
Danny, I told you not to retaliate! Oh dear, Pedrosa really screwed the pooch on this one, eliminated himself from the championship and putting Hayden's title hopes into jeopardy in one fell swoop.
Tino knows it's all going his way. However, I think I should put out a Tony Elias alert for the 2 Camel Yamahas.
If there was a ship-to-shore radio between Repsol Honda and Tony Elias, they will say, we will pay you $1 million if you win this Grand Prix, Tony, and we will pay you in gold in a suitcase immediately when you cross the line.
If Lewis Hamilton was an underdog figure, he'd be Tony Elias. And if Keith Hume was commentating, he'd have his trousers wrapped around his ankles by now. Be prepared, viewers, we are witnessing Tony Elias starting to learn the move. You'll see what I mean in a bit. Now here's a curious case. It's the Ilmore team making their debut. MotoGP had a pretty flexible rulebook back then, and they allowed for experiments like this. It was a prototype that ran on a smaller, lighter 800cc engine, and it was partly funded by IndyCar legend Roger Penske. 800cc prototypes. They'll never catch on. Marco Melandri in the gravel, suffering from an injury he got at the previous round at Motegi. Poor man would never get this close to a MotoGP title ever again. There it is! The Elias move! I still to this day have no idea how he managed to pull this one off. Marquez, eat your heart out. And Edwards gets him right back at the chicane. This is already getting out of hand. In the words of esteemed poet DJ Khaled, another one.
Colin Edwards actually likes Tony Elias. In China last year, Tony is very good at this, latched onto Colin on the last lap of qualifying and got a tow to the front row. I'm outside the back of the garage talking to Colin. Tony emerges from his garage, looks at Colin, waves, big titty smile, thank you, Colin.
You helped me.
And Colin said, oh, you can't hate him, can you? I think he wanted to deeply at that moment. But
Okay.
No, seriously, God bless this commentary team. We just don't get these stories anywhere else. Chris Vermeulen coming off the road after realising the track is far too dry for him to be competitive.
I think if Tony Elias won this race, there might be a Honda for him next year all of a sudden.
Said that earlier. There'll also be a big briefcase full of that gold underneath the podium.
Which denomination notes would Sir like?
Doesn't matter. Gold, diamonds, watches, anything you wish.
Bribes for gold? This is clearly how Jonathan Rea never ended up in MotoGP full time. What I love most about Elias taking the lead here is his garage reaction. And the crowd goes mild.
So if you pave the interior with cute puppies, Tony Elias would ride over them.
Yep, it's official. Elias is the devil incarnate. Elias letting Rossi through. It's like watching Kyrie Irving trying to play defense. Kenny Roberts Jr. from out of nowhere. Okay, seriously, what on earth possessed Kenny Roberts? Did we go back in time? Is it the year 2000 again? Look at this crazy shit. Elias free wide, banging knees with one of the greatest braking jobs I've ever seen. The man is a total nut job. You know what's amazing about this race? And about this video in general? If you've chosen to watch this, you probably already know how this story ends, and yet, here we are. We both know what's going to happen. You're both kind of eagerly anticipating that finale, and yet, here we are. I remember it like it was yesterday in person. Like, I was 12 years old, and I remember distinctively sitting on my sofa downstairs with my brother and my dad. Both of them hardcore Valentino Rossi fans. And I distinctively said to them while sitting down on the sofa, watch for Tony Elias off the last corner. They didn't listen to me. Hold that thought.
This is mental stuff here in Estoril. One more corner. Do you want to lead onto the home straight?
Did we think Valentino would let him have it?
No! Valentino comes onto the home straight. Tony Elias got him for a victory. And Tony Elias is going to be coming to the line. And it's going to be, I don't know. Elias wins the race by 0.02 of a second. Tony Elias wins the Grand Prix. That is why we love motorcycle racing. Heroic stuff from Tony Elias. Oh my goodness me.
The
Rossi
saviour of Honda this week is Tony Elias. Roberts gets third. Brilliant. Second rostrum of the year.
I hate to use the term I told you so, but I told you so. Up yours, Michael Barrington Harrison.
Julian, I mentioned a big suitcase full of gold, diamonds and dollars for Tony Elias from Honda if he won this race.
I think he could back the wagon up.
Have I mentioned how much I love Toby and Jules? Because I love Toby and Jules. Look, a young Matt Roberts on the left there. He turned out alright, the old Silver Fox. So Tony Elias picks up an unbelievable victory in Estoril by just 0.02 of a second over Valentino Rossi. Kenny Roberts Jr. took what would be his final Grand Prix podium in third, ahead of Colin Edwards in fourth. Oh, and shout out to Ilmore and Gary McCoy in 15th place. 4 laps down, but a well-earned point. Absolutely nothing to do with the sport's upcoming participation crisis at all. Honest. It's funny looking back on it. Estoril doesn't quite hold up as well as in terms of sheer balls-to-the-wall action nowadays. But it's not really the race's fault. You see, with more freak talents like Lorenzo, Stoner, Marquez, etc., and the rise of Moto3, the most competitive series on 2 wheels, and flag-to-flag races in the wet, the series by default is calibrated more for entertainment than ever before. What makes Estoril special now, looking back on it, is that for historical significance, one of the most important races in the sport's history takes place right here. Ilmore showed us the future with their prototype. This was the race that cost Rossi world title number 10 without even realising it at the time, and we would have to wait another 10 years before we saw another independent rider win a MotoGP race. Shout out to Jack Miller, in spite of him making the fucking shoey mainstream. Estoril 2006 is for me the most important MotoGP race ever, and for that reason alone, it's a must watch. The fact it's a friggin' spectacular race is only really a bonus. Just before I go, a massive thanks and shout out to Chris Cook of Cook Productions 1 and Matt Carnero of Mystery Science Theatre F1. They are geniuses and the inspiration for this video. They do fantastic work, and if you liked this video, go subscribe to them and tell them I sent you. They deserve all the success in the world. Anyway, enough Dre Brief-esque soppy shit. I'm out of here. I've been Andre Harrison, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.